Sure. Even though it seems kind of crazy, considering my situation, but I'm gonna do it. And if I am successful, which I'm pretty sure, I mean, I have a 90% confidence rate that I'll be successful, unless something totally unforeseen hits me from the side here. But I think I'll be successful in retiring, even despite my situation. And wanted to update and let you know what's going on. I am heading out to get some more paperwork notarized and whatnot to finalize my retirement. But honestly, I'm not fully retired. I'm on a pending, situation. Not because of the retirement itself, but because of personal issues. I still have personal matters I have to resolve. So I'm on, I guess officially, I'll be semi-retired because I'll be retired, but not really. I'm retired, but still working. I guess that's like most retirees that become Walmart quitters. Hi, welcome to Walmart. Anyhow, I was looking up how much it costs to retire, and the number is staggering and crazy. And even as I deal with the retirement, my own retirement, they were asking me if I wanted all the things tacked on there, including like my military service. They wanted $72,000 for me to pay them, and then they would give me credit for that time in the military. $72,000 they wanted me to come up with, and I'm like, no thanks. I'll just write that off. I'll just write my military service time as 0, so that they don't have to credit me with it. Because it turns out that they don't just credit you the time, you have to buy that time. You have to buy in. I don't know how it works. It's kind of complicated. It's kind of over my head. But all I know is they wanted me to pay them $72,000 so I could claim military service. And I said, no, let that go. Let it go. Let it go. I just won't take that time. But I was looking up statistics and advice and stuff from financial experts on the internet. And they say that really you should plan on having $2 million if you want to live comfortably in retirement. And a minimum right now for the year 2020 is like $980,000. That's what you should have in your bank account. That's not what money, they also expect you to have at that point. They expect you to get at least $2,000 per month for Social Security. So the figures they're giving you of $1 million or close to $1 million is what you should have in the bank. And then you're supposed to have $2,000 coming in every month. I don't know about you, but I must be like, I guess because I live in Florida or whatever, or it's like living under a rock or something, because those numbers are staggering to me. Because the people here in Florida and most of the places I've worked, we don't make anywhere near that much money. And I don't know how you could have $1 million in the bank account when you're working and barely making enough to get by. And that was even applicable when I was, in a white-collar job. So those numbers must be for people who are making more than $100,000 a year on average. Like, if they're working right now and they're making more than $100,000 per year, and they're putting money into the 401k and other retirement accounts. Because there's no way I think a regular person could save up to $2 million just sitting in their bank account. That to me just seems like not realistic, but that's what they say. And I suppose it is possible because Florida is a big retirement basically community. The whole state is like probably 70% retirees. Okay, so when I look around at the retirees and I see them and how they live and stuff, I think the ones who live in the nicer neighborhoods and stuff, they probably do have that $1 million threshold and at least $2,000 per person. So if it's a husband and a wife, they get $4,000 a month from their Social Security, and they also may have a pension with their job, which will pay anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a month. And then on top of that, they have $1 million in the bank. I don't know about you, but if you're one of the people like me who don't have that kind of money, these are depressing figures and numbers. But that's what they say, because And I part of that, when I was filing the paperwork for retirement, they were giving me some figures on what they estimate my medical costs would be. I'm just going to give you some numbers that came up on, as you start to file retirement, they send you the paperwork, the calculations of what they think it'll cost, how long you're expected to live, and all the other details that you ignored when you were younger. But as you start to become older, these numbers become kind of significant because they're just around the corner. But anyhow, they were estimating me spending $2,500 a month on medical expenses. $2,500. I don't even make anywhere near that. So, I'm like, well, that's not even practical. That's not realistic. I don't spend that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money. And if I was needing that kind of money, I'd probably be dead. So, those are the figures. And if you don't believe me, just go ahead and Google how much it costs to retire in the U.S.A. And then you're going to go, holy schmoly, Denoy wasn't kidding. They expect you to have $1 million and at least $2,000 a month. That's for a single person, okay, for one person. And $2,000 a month or more coming in just from Social Security, and you may have pension. Otherwise, they expect you in America, if you're making less than that, to suffer. You're not going to be very comfortable. Which brings me to my next point. Some of you are like, Denoy's being ridiculous. He's not even able to function here and stuff, and he's planning on becoming a world traveler. Well, Google how much it costs to retire in Thailand. And then you'll say, holy schmoly. The figures in Thailand are much, much lower. Okay, now, I do have a benefit, as some people have pointed out, and that is I am Thai, believe it or not. I'm also American. I'm born Thai. I have a Thai birth certificate and everything. So that helps. But for me, I think all it's going to take is just me showing up and saying, hey, I'm back home. I'm home. I'm home. And I think Thailand will take me back. Okay, because I'm Thai. But for those of you who are what we call, the Thai people call it farang, okay? That means outsiders, usually, white people. Although even African American or black people or even Hispanics or whatever would also be considered farang technically in Thailand. Farang just means an outsider, okay? I was looking up what it takes for a foreigner to come there because, some of the viewers here are wanting to know. So I'll be updating you as I learn more information, and it might even help you out by setting up a network or whatever I can on that end, because it helps to have somebody in the country you're trying to get into. So, but from what I could tell looking at it, getting into Thailand is somewhat difficult on the scale of getting there and retiring. It's not as simple as people think because, the country doesn't have social welfare and things like that. If you don't have money, you don't have money in Thailand. They don't have like food stamps and things like that. You have to go and beg for food or work. Okay, that's the concept. But I don't even think they have like disability. Okay, so if you have a missing leg or arm, well, you're just gonna work slower. But basically, I was looking for a foreigner to go retire in Thailand. Okay, they have a minimum age. You have to be at least 50 years old before you can apply, and what you get is a retirement visa. So Thailand will allow foreigners to retire in Thailand, but they're starting to cap the numbers because of the world economy kind of crashing. There's a bunch of foreigners moving to Thailand, like they're taking over the country. So these numbers may change very soon, and I suspect very soon, especially after coronavirus, looking at the damage it's done to everybody financially worldwide. But right now, as of right now, from what I could gather from the embassy and all the other websites I could find on retirement in Thailand, you need at a minimum, you need to be 50 years old, and then you apply for what's called a retirement visa. But that's not it. You have certain stipulations you have to meet, okay? You have to be able to show that you have at least 800,000 Thai bahts equivalent in your bank account. Because they want to make sure that when you go to Thailand, you're going to be okay. You're going to have enough money to pay for a rent, for food. Medicine there is kind of free, sort of. You know, it's the government runs it. Basically, over there, when you get hurt and you go to the hospital, they don't ask you what insurance you have. They ask you where you're hurt. In America, you walk in there and your leg's missing. They're like, so who's your insurance provider? before they start to repair your leg. In Thailand, you walk in there and they look at your leg and they say, oh shit, and they start to try to stop the bleeding. The insurance is like secondary over there, as far as helping people. But it's a whole different culture and a whole different way that life is over there than here. But basically, if you can show that you have at least 25,000 US dollars in your bank account, or you can show that you get at least $2,000 a month, in retirement benefits and stuff like that, money that comes in, Thailand may, not necessarily, but may grant you a retirement visa if you're 50 years or older. The other option is to marry a Thai person. Okay, which some of you are like, hey, that's sounding a lot like what they're doing in America. Yeah, except now Americans are trying to marry Thai people. It's going the other way. Because what's happening is the Americans are having a hard time coming up with $2 million in their bank account for retirement. And you only have to come up with $25,000, which most Americans, if they have worked their whole life and had at least a halfway decent job, wasn't just always at minimum wage, most Americans, I'm not most, I'm in the category that's like outside even that, okay? So, if you follow this story and you follow me as I try to retire with no money, you'll see how I handle it. But actually, I don't have no money. See, that's the thing. It's and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically, if you're an American and you're retiring, if you had a job that had pension, or if you have Social Security, and you worked all your life and you weren't just making minimum wage all the time, hopefully you're getting more than $2,000 a month, then your chance of possibly moving to Thailand or something like that goes up, because you'll meet the minimum of how much money you have to have. But there's a lot of other legal stuff that you have to go through. It's from what I could tell when I was reading online from Americans who tried to go there and retire and stuff, harder and harder to get in. It's because Thailand is becoming crowded with foreigners moving there. And if you look at the Thai videos, you can understand why. And I'm not talking about like the red light district and all that, which I think is bad. I think that's bad for my country. But I have my own opinion on how, not opinion, I have a fact on how that came to be. But, the thing is, Thailand is actually an interesting place because it's considered like a third world country, but if you're in Bangkok, you'll see that it's actually one of the more modern cities in the world. It's got like mega malls and I'm hoping that I can go there and show you guys videos personally of me standing in there to show you that what used to be my little village is like now like got multi-story malls with elevators inside and air conditioning everywhere and really fancy stuff. But that's one side of Thailand. But then there's the other side of Thailand, which is a little bit more laid back, and it's similar to how I grew up, with the little village with the oxen plowing through the rice paddy fields. That's more. Although honestly, that's not how my village was either. For those of you who want to know where I'm from a place that they call Korat. Specifically, the province or the little town is called Nakhon Ratchasima Korat. Which it turns out, I always thought when I was a kid, living in America and throughout the world, because I was a military brat, that my little city, Korat, was actually a small little town. But it turns out that's one of the mega cities in Thailand. And it's almost like next to Bangkok. Matter of fact, my friend in Thailand was telling me they're trying to put a high-speed train between Bangkok and Korat, because all the people who work in Bangkok, because that's where the city is, the capital of the country, it's expensive to live in Bangkok. At least more expensive to live there than in Korat. So a lot of them are moving to Korat, and they're commuting between Korat to go to work in Bangkok. And the high-speed train would allow them to do that really fast, at an economical price. so the cost wouldn't be too prohibitively high. Cost of things in Thailand tend to be a lot cheaper. Like I said, you only need $25,000 in your bank account or $2,000 a month. I'm going to be heading there with much less than that, like almost nothing in my bank account, and much less than $2,000 a month in income. So I'm gonna have to talk to the embassy, have to talk to the Thai officials and say, hey, what's the situation? You gonna let me back? สวัสดีครับขอกลับมาคืนนะครับ ขอกลับบ้านนะครับ Beg them to take me back. So then I gotta try to beg to take my wife in too. So we'll see how that works. I'll let you guys know, because it may be important to some of you who may have decided that, you know what, you can't come up with $2 million or even $1 million to retire in America. So you might be looking at other options. And in addition to Thailand, we might look at other countries. Might talk to you about some of the people I've encountered and stuff that have retired or are planning on retiring. I can tell you stories about Maurice. You remember Maurice? Yeah, he actually was a millionaire, multi-millionaire. And he's actually planning on moving overseas. You know, even though he's semi-retired here, but he's struggling here in America. This was a multi-millionaire who's struggling. So we can talk about that, and those will be the kind of stuff we'll be doing in the future. But there has been some shift in plans as to the timeline as to when I'm going to Thailand and stuff, because there's some personal matters I have to deal with on this end before I leave, and I'll be dealing with those. Part of it is doing the paperwork and just closing things out in general. I do want to try to set up some income revenue streams, because I want to have as much money coming in as possible when I'm in Thailand, because I don't plan on going there and being homeless. You know, a lot of people look at me here and say, man, how's he going to do it? He's homeless here. He's not even making enough. It's because I actually have retirement and stuff that I wasn't even using here because I was too young. But not only that, it wouldn't make much difference in the United States. You know, $500, $400 or whatever a month is not going to make any difference in America. I don't think that won't even cover rent. But in Thailand, that, you know, $500 or $600 a month, if I live like a Thai person, that should cover an apartment and internet, electricity, water, and food, and some entertainment. $500, $600 a month. Now, would that be like living like a king or queen? Not really. It'd be like living like a Thai person, because I think that, well, the average Thai person, from what I could Google, it makes about anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month is the average income. So it's gone up from a while, you know, since I was there as a kid. People used to make really low money there, but now they're making like $1,000 a month. That means things are more expensive. And you're like, what do you mean? Well, as people start to earn more money, prices tend to rise. And that's what's going on with Thailand. The cost of living is going up. It's not being helped by the fact that foreigners are coming in. The foreigners are, Curious Queen says, you got to have red light districts to reduce stress. I might even do some stories on that. But, you know, believe it or not, those channels get billions of views, okay? But the problem is, you know, we'll talk about that in a future episode, and we might even cover it on several different episodes and stuff. And I may cover it just because, you know, this channel's always been about showing everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, maybe even the red. And, you know, but basically, my own goal in going there is just to have some normalcy in my life and to really enjoy the rest of my life. You know, I think staying here, living the life that I've had to live for the past 10 years wasn't exactly my American dream. You know, I did have an American dream of being successful here and doing all sorts of stuff, and I was one of the people that was working towards that. I know you find it hard to believe, but, you know, I was one of the group of people that was trying to make something, like, big, you know, and I failed. I didn't make it. But some of the people who were in the same group as me, they are successful. Like I said, the Tim Little from Epic, you know, Epic Mega Games and stuff. Epic, the company that owns Fortnite. He's a multi-billionaire now. He was the same group as me and had even applied to me for a job. That's how far back I go. But, you know, obviously I didn't succeed. He did. And now I might be, well, he put out a call out saying, you know, he was looking for programmers. I wonder if I could contact him and say, hey, do you remember me? Remember you applied for a job? I'm applying for a job from you now. But, you know, the thing is, I don't really even want to do that anymore, because it turns out as you get older, maybe a little bit wiser, what you want in your life or what you pursue changes. And when I was younger, I wanted to become like basically not even just a millionaire, but like a gazillionaire. And I was trying to build stuff that would be that big. And now as an adult, you know, I look at that now, not even just an adult, but someone, I guess you could say in my twilight years, as I start to age, money is not really the thing that drives me anymore. And I know some people say, why not, Denoy? You're sitting here like this and blah, blah, blah. I think what drives me the most is really being true to yourself and being happy with your life and your choices and what you do. And, you know, I'm happy. I don't know if the videos show that for the most part. I'm happy with my life and my choices, even though some of them didn't turn out so good. But, you know, that's life. You know, you don't really... I would say life is unscripted, although it's about to become scripted, and we'll talk about that in another episode because of what's going on with technology and Elon Musk and the brain chip that they're trying to implant into everybody. But basically, life, for the most part, at least up to this point, was not scripted, you know, by most of us, although it is scripted by several people steering the world towards that. But for the most part, you still have choice. And I've always lived according to my belief, my value system, because if you're not even true to what you believe, then what are you? What is your life really? You know, you've got to have some kind of core value, some kind of belief system in how you treat people, how you view people, and how you treat your family and yourself. You've got to basically live as you believe, because if you don't do that, then you're living a lie. And if you're living a lie, well, that's your choice to live a lie, a life that's, you know, not even really yours. But anyhow, we'll talk some more. Just wanted to fill you guys in on what's going on right now, and the kind of content that'll be coming up, especially as I start to move. You know, you'll see some of the paperwork and stuff I'm dealing with today. I'm heading over to the bank, not because I need any bank stuff, but because I need the notary. For those of you who don't know, you should know this, but if you don't, most banks and credit unions have a notary on hand, and if you're a member of that bank or credit union, they'll notarize stuff for you for free. So you don't have to look up a notary service and pay them money, which could be like $20 or $30 per document. You can go to the bank and have it done for free, which is what I'm doing, because I have several pieces of paper that I have to have notarized as I submit them for retirement. So just a little tip. I want to thank you all for joining me. I will try to make some videos and publish them coming up here soon that have to do with the van and the RV. We're heading right back to what we were. Until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. Please stay safe, and thank you for tuning in.